Lecture No. 15 and 16. Water management. Water is one of the most important inputs essential for the production of crops. Plants need it continuously during their life and in huge quantities. It profoundly influences photosynthesis, respiration, absorption, translocation and utilization of mineral nutrients etc. Both its shortage and excess affects the growth and development of a plant directly and consequently its yield and quality. Soil needs the application of water to remove stress condition, release nutrients in the soil solution for absorption by plants, leach or wash out injurious salts from the soil, preparation of land for raising crops, to maintain the temperature and humidity of the soil microclimate and the activity of soil microbes at optimum level, for the normal aeration and functioning of roots and shoots of the plants. Excess water needs to be removed for the normal aeration and functioning of roots and shoots of the plants. Excess water creates unworkable soil condition. Irrigation. It is defined as the artificial application of water to the plants in the event of shortage of natural rains in order to obtain rapid growth and increased yields. It is an essential item in the cultivation of crops. Success in gardening depends on how efficiently irrigation is provided to gardens because it is governed by many factors such as frequency, duration, intensity, source and method of supply. Factors affecting the supply of irrigation water to plants. 1. Topography and soil characteristics. 2. Kind of plant, root depth, water absorption capacity, growth habit, etc. 3. Weather condition. When to irrigate. The time when a plant needs irrigation can only be judged by a keen observing eye. The plants need water when their new leaves begin to show a wilting appearance. A little before the trees show the sign of wilting. The shedding of broad leaves in orchard shows distress symptoms. How much to irrigate? If water supply is limited, only a light irrigation can be given at a time with higher frequency of irrigation. If water is available in plenty, the irrigation may be heavy with longer intervals between successive irrigations. However, inadequate irrigation reduces the growth and fruiting of the trees while over-irrigation serves no useful purpose and it may even prove to be harmful. It may create waterlogging, the nutrients may get leached and fruits may become watery and develop poor quality. Plants which have Agrimoon. Com. Fundamentals of horticulture. 47. Suffered from drought should not be given liberal doses of irrigations all at once. That may result in the splitting of fruits and even the splitting of bark of the branches and trunk. Systems of irrigations. Different systems of irrigation are followed in different parts of the country. The best system is the one which meets the moisture seepage and evaporation. Principally, irrigation systems can be divided under three broad headings. I. Surface irrigation A. Flooding B. Basin type C. Furrow type D. Ring type 2. Subsurface irrigation A. Trench method B. Through underground pipeline C. Perforated pipelines. 3. Overhead or aerial irrigation A. Sprinkler B. Revolving nozzles IV. Drip or trickle irrigation I. Surface irrigation A. Flooding. When the land is flat, letting in water from one end floods the entire area. This system is commonly practiced in canal or tank bed areas. It is the easiest method and permits the use of bullock-drawn implements in the orchards. But in this there is wastage of water and leads to soil erosion also. It encourages growth of weeds and spread of diseases like gummosis in citrus and collar rot in papaya. B. Basin system. In this system, circular basins are provided around the trunk of the tree. The basins are interconnected in series and are fed through the main channel running perpendicular to the tree rows. When compared to flooding, the system minimizes the loss of water. In the system of irrigation, the water close to trunk may bring about certain diseases like gummosis and nutrients are likely to be carried over from one basin to the other. C. Furrow system. Unlike the flood system, here the entire land surface is not covered with irrigation water. The furrows are opened in the entire orchard at 4 inches or less apart, depending upon the age of the trees. Water is let in these furrows from the main channels. In orchards, 2 furrows on each side of the rows are generally made. It is suited to such lands, which have a moderate slope to the extent of 1 to 2% if the water is to run freely and reach the ends of the furrows. Where the slope is sharp, the furrows are made to follow the contour more or less closely. This method has disadvantage of excessive water penetration at the head than at the farther end, which may result in variation in vigor and growth of trees. D. Ring system. This is an improvement over the basin system. In the system, a ring is formed close and around the tree and water is let into the basin. This method is recommended for citrus trees, thereby reducing the chances of collar rot to which these trees are often susceptible. The size of the ring will increase as the tree grows. In the system, the spread of diseases like collar rot, etc. are prevented. However, it involves more labor and capital and it does not permit uniform distribution of water throughout the bed or basin as in the basin system of irrigation. 1. Subsurface irrigation. This system consists of conducting water in number of furrows or ditches underground in perforated pipelines until sufficient water is taken into the soil so as to retain the water table near the root zone. In limited situation, this may be a very desirable system of irrigation. In general, however, it must be used with great caution because of the danger of water logging and salt accumulation. If the substrata is so slowly permeable that practically no water moves through, water added may stand in soil sufficiently for long time resulting in injury to the plant root due to poor aeration. Where irrigation water or the subsoil contains appreciable amount of Agrimoon. Com. Fundamentals of horticulture. 48. Salt. Subsoil irrigation is usually not advisable. Land must be carefully leveled for successful subsoil irrigation so that raising the water table will wet all parts of the field equally. 2. Overhead or aerial irrigation. In this system, water is applied in the form of spring, somewhat resembling rainfall. This is accomplished by pumping water from original source into the main supply line from where it is distributed to perforated pipes, which operate at low pressure 80 to 120 pounds per square inch and supply the water in a fairly uniform rectangular pattern. They have a high rate of application, usually 1 per hour or higher. Because of the high application rates, their use is restricted to soils with high infiltration rates, such as sandy or gravelly. Revolving nozzle is also at times used, which operated on either low or high pressure. Usually the rate of application followed in the rate of 0.2 inches to 0.3 inches per hour. Sprinkler irrigation may have definite economic advantages in developing new land that has never been irrigated, particularly where the land is rough or the soil is too much porous, shallow or highly erodible. It is quite useful where only small streams are available, such as irrigation wells of small capacity. It is helpful in irrigating at the seedling stage when the furrowing is difficult and flooding leads to crusting of soil. Fertilizer materials may be evenly applied by this method. This is usually done by drawing liquid fertilizer solution slowly into the pipe. It has several disadvantages like high initial cost, difficult to work in windy location, trouble from clogging of nozzle, interference in pollination process and requirement of more labors while removing or resetting. In general, the system is best adopted for areas where ordinary surface systems are inefficient. 3. Drip or trickle system. This is the most recent system of irrigating the plants. It is usually practiced for high-value crops, especially in greenhouses and glass houses. There will be an installation of pipelines with nozzles very close to the soil. The nozzle is fitted in such a way that water is dripped almost in the root zone of the plants. Water is allowed to move in pipes under very low or no pressure and it drop at regular interval. This system of irrigation has advantages like no disturbance of the soil moisture is maintained, lesser leaching of nutrients from the soil. Agrimoon. Com. Fundamentals of Horticulture. 49. Lecture No. 17 and 18. Manures and manuring. The perennials are different from annuals in their nutritive requirements. The annuals require fewer nutrients when gradually falls as the crop matures. Whereas, in perennials tahar are often to a 3-peak period of uptake owing to the occurrence of more than one vegetative flush and crop. Manorial requirement of perennials gradually increased with the age of the tree till the trees reach their full growth and thereafter remains constant. Depending upon the requirements, we may have to supplement by applying manures and fertilizers at the appropriate time. Inorganic fertilizer. Industrially manufactured chemicals. Contains higher nutrient than organic manures. Nutrient input is lost through leaching, runoff, volatilization, fixation by soil or consumption by weeds etc. Organic fertilizer. These are plant and animal wastes that are used as nutrients after decomposition. Improves the soil tilth, aeration, water holding capacity and activity of microorganism. Where to apply the manures. In fully grown trees, the manures and fertilizer should be given over the area where their active roots are spread. Fertilizer should be given in restricted area i.e., in the surrounding area of about 1 to 1.5 m away from the trunk of the trees. Time of fertilizer application. It must be applied when the plants need it. Timing depends on the type of fertilizer and climate. Fruit trees require more nutrients at the emergence of new flushes and differentiations of floral buds. Utilized more during the course of fruit development. Nutrients should be available to them in February-March. So, it would be better to apply them in October-November to be available to the trees in February to March. Agrimoon. Com. Fundamentals of Horticulture. 50. Nutrient content of organic manures. Organic manure. N%. P. 2O. 5%. K. 2O% bulky organic manures. Cattle dung. 0.40. 0.20. 0.17 poultry manure. 3.03. 0.63. 1.40 farmyard manure. 0.50. 0.25. 0.50 rural compost. 0.75. 0.20. 0.50 urban compost. 1.75. 1.00. 1.50 vermicompost. 3.00. 1.00. 1.50 concentrated organic manure. Castor cake. 4.37. 1.85. 1.39 coconut cake. 3.00. 1.80. 1.90 neem cake. 5.22. 1.08. 1.48 blood meal. 12.00. 2.00. 1.00 groundnut cake. 7.30. 1.50. 1.30 pressmud. 2.10. 4.40. 0.80. Composition of inorganic manures. Fertilizer. Composition percent. N. P2O5. K2O. Sodium nitrate. 16. Dash. Dash. Calcium nitrate. 15.5. Dash. Dash. Potassium nitrate. 13.8. Dash. Dash. Anhydrous ammonia. 82. Dash. Dash. Urea. 46. Dash. SSP. Dash. 16. Double SP. Dash. 32. Triple SP. Dash. 46 to 48. Dash. Agrimoon. Com. Fundamentals of Horticulture. 51. Methods of fertilizer application. Broadcasting. Fertilizer in solid state or granular or dust are spread uniformly over the entire field. Leaching loss may be more. Disadvantages. Some of the elements like phosphorus and potash do not readily move in the soil. Therefore, surface application may not be available to the trees especially in drier tracts. Leads to accumulation of potassium in surface soil beyond detrimental levels causing injury to plants. Surface application always stimulates weed growth. Band placement. Application of fertilizer on the sides of rows. Fertilizer in solid and liquid forms can be applied. Quantity of fertilizer may be economized. Ring placement. Commonly followed in fruit trees. Fertilizer are applied in a ring encircling the trunk of the trees extending the entire canopy. It is more labor intensive and costly. Foliar application. Fertilizer are applied in liquid form as foliar sprays. They are easily absorbed by leaves. Fertilizer are applied in a very low concentration tolerable to the leaves. Recommended when the nutrients are required in small quantity. Starter solution. Liquid form of fertilizer application. Seedlings and propagules are kept emerged up to their root system for varying duration in starter solution. Agrimoon. Com. Fundamentals of Horticulture. 52. The starter solution is prepared either by dissolving concentrated fertilizer mixture at a concentration not exceeding 1%. Fertigation. Application of fertilizer in irrigation water in either open or closed systems. Nitrogen and sulfur are the principal nutrients applied. Phosphorus fertigation is less common because the formation of precipitates takes place with high Ca and Mg containing water. Advantages. Nutrients especially nitrogen can be applied in several split doses at the time of greatest need of the plant. Nutrient is mixed with water and applied directly near the root zone, as such higher use efficiency. Cost on labor is saved. Best results of fertigation are noticed when the fertilizer is applied towards the middle of the irrigation period and applied towards the middle of the irrigation period and their application terminated shortly before completion of irrigation. Use of soluble fertilizer improves use efficiency. Note, the grower must consider the economics and advantages before deciding for using fertigation. Fertigation is used extensively in cut flower production in greenhouses, fruit crops, grapes, papaya, banana and pomegranate, vegetables, tomato and capsicum under poly greenhouses, tree injection, direct injection of essential nutrients into the tree trunk. Iron salts are injected into chlorotic trees that are known to suffer from iron deficiency. Feeding needles. Several types of feeding needles or guns are available. With these fertilizer either in dry form or in water solution placed in holes. Factors favoring nutrients absorption and transport. High humidity, proper temperature and incident radiation. Good show supply and vigorous growth. Chemical and physical properties of nutrient spray solution. Agrimoon. Com. Fundamentals of Horticulture. 53. Leaf characters like leaf thickness, hairiness and wax coating on the leaf. Generally more vigorous plant and young growing leaves have good capacity to absorb nutrients. Nitrogen applied in the form of urea, 1%, is readily absorbed. Sodium and potassium, KCl, readily absorbed by leaves and they are among the highly mobile elements. Note, foliar application proves to be most effective where problems of nutrient fixation in soil exits. So far the most important use of foliar sprays is in application of micronutrients. Foliar sprays should be applied either with pressure sprayer or with specially designed spray guns. The trees should be sprayed until the nutrient solution begins to drip from the leaves. Foliar application of urea has been found effective in many fruit crops like citrus, guava, apple, etc. Potassium spray 3 to 5 g, lit, papaya, pineapple, citrus and guava. Precaution. While applying foliar sprays, care should be taken to ensure correct concentration of spray solution. Apply in the morning or evening hours on a clear sky day. Agrimoon. Com. Fundamentals of Horticulture. 54. Lecture No. 19. Weed management in orchards. Weeds in orchards reduce crop yields by competing for moisture, nutrients, light and space. They also harbor insect pests and diseases. When they become large, they interfere with orchard operations. Some of weeds climb on the trees and produce shade on the foliage. There are some weeds which are parasitic partially or completely on the host tree. Examples: Striga on sorghum. Add example of horticultural crop, Loranthus on mango. Commonly noticed weed species in fruit orchards. There are more than 30,000 species of weeds distributed world over, out of which 18,000 are noxious and cause serious losses. Note: around 250 species are causing serious economic losses. Monocots, narrow-leaf grasses, cypress, cynodon, poagrass, ryegrass, quackgrass etc. Dicot weeds, broadleaf weeds, dandelion, Chenopodium spp, Parthenium, Solanum sp, Euphorbia spp, ground ivy etc. Many are medicinal. Plural check. Methods of weed control in orchards. Broadly classified as 1. Cultural methods 2. Biological methods 3. Chemical methods 4. Integrated weed control 5. Soil solarization. Losses caused by weeds, harmful effects. 1. Weeds compete with fruit crops for nutrients, moisture, air and light. 2. They increase the cost of production. 3. Reduction in crop yield. 4. They impair the quality of crop. 5. Weeds harbor pests and diseases. 6. They bring problems in irrigation, drainage etc. 7. Weeds reduce human efficiency through allergism and poisoning. Cultural or mechanical control includes Agrimun. Com. Fundamentals of Horticulture. 55. 1. Hand weeding 2. Tillage operation 3. Growing of intercrops 4. Use of mulching. Biological methods. It involves the use of natural enemies of the weeds which includes fungus, bacteria, insects, fish, animals and plants through competitive replacement A. Cassia spp. Replacing Parthenium. Characters of successful bioagents. 1. Host specific. 2. Easily adjustable to new environment. 3. Rapid destroyer of the target weed. 4. Easy to multiply. 5. Effective against several kinds of weeds. 6. Should not affect other cultivated species. Insects as bioagents. Weed. Bioagent. Kind of bioagent Cypress rotundus. Bactra verutana. Insect shoot boring moth Achinochola spp. Amalocera tripos spp. Insect stem boring moth. Parthenium. Zygogramma bicolorata epipulma strenarana conatrachelis spp. Leaf eating insect stem girdling insect. Orabunche. Sclerotinia spp. Fungus. Plant pathogen Remes spp. Euromyces rumosus fungus. Plant pathogen. Mycoherbicides products. Content. Weeds controlled the vine. Liquid suspension of Phytophthora pomivera root rot of weed. Merenia odorata in citrus plantations. Bipolaris. Suspension of fungal spores of Biopolaris saugicola sorghum halepens. Biolifos. Microbial toxin produced as fermentation products of Streptomyces hygroscopicus. Non-specific can be used on general vegetation. Chemical control. Agrimun. Com. Fundamentals of Horticulture. 56. It refers to use of herbicide to suppress or kill weeds. A herbicide is any chemical that has phytotoxic properties. Herbicides include wide variety of compounds classified on the basis of 1. Chemical structure. 2. Selectivity, selective and non-selective. 3. Contact or translocated, systemic. Selective herbicides are those which kill certain kind of specific weed without causing any significant injury to others. For example, 2,4-D controls herbaceous dicot weeds, MCDA controls Cyperus rotundus, Plantigo spp, etc., whereas non-selective herbicide will indiscriminately kill all the plants that come in contact. For example, glyphosate, periquat destroy green tissue only. Systemic herbicides. They are also referred as translocated herbicides. They are absorbed by leaves, stems or roots of treated plants. Translocated through either phloem or xylem. For example, atrazine, simazine, diurin, allichlor. Guidelines for use of herbicides. 1. Use correct recommended concentration. 2. Sprayers should be properly calibrated. Nozzles should be directed towards the target weeds away from the fruit tree trunk. 3. Young weeds are killed easily than older ones or established ones. 4. Application should be avoided during raining or windy situations. 5. Wetting agent should be added to facilitate spreading of herbicide more uniformly on leaf surface. 6. If the leaves of fruit trees are accidentally sprayed, the sprayed portion should be immediately cut off. Note: the efficiency of weedicide is good when it is used on weeds with new sprout growth. Integrated weed management. This is a weed management system that suppresses weeds by combining 2 or more weed control methods. IWM seems to be best suited for control of weeds in tropics or in fruit orchards. Practices. 1. Deep plowing during summer. 2. Repeated tillage and hand weeding, use of chemicals. 3. Intercultivation, cover cropping, intercropping etc. 4. Organic mulching in basins. 5. Use of herbicides 2 to 3 times per year. 6. Use of bioagents whenever possible. Agrimun. Com. Fundamentals of Horticulture. 57. 7. Proper regulation of irrigation. 8. Use of drip irrigation. Agrimun. Com. Fundamentals of Horticulture. 58. Lecture No. 20, 21, 22 and 23. Training and pruning. Horticultural plants are grown for their produce like fruits, vegetable, flowers, medicinal components, spices, oleoresins, aromatic, essential oils etc. Therefore, these plants should be managed in such a way that human desires for the purpose of growing them are fully satisfied in terms of quality and quantity of produce. Thus demands direct manipulation of plant growth itself or plant environment through various inputs. In manipulation of plant development, training and pruning are important for which our knowledge about plant development and its phenology has to be complete. These practices are important in fruit crops. Training definition. Physical techniques that control the shape, size and direction of plant growth are known as training, or in other words training in effect as orientation of plant in space through techniques like tying, fastening, staking, supporting over a trellis or pergola in a certain fashion or pruning of some parts. Objectives. To improve appearance and usefulness of plant tree through providing different shapes and securing balanced distribution. To ease cultural practices including intercultivation, plant protection and harvesting. To improve performance like planting at an angle of 45 degrees and horizontal orientation of branches make them fruiting better. Methods of training. Method of training of a plant is determined by the nature of plant, climate, purpose of growing, planting method, mechanization, etc., and therefore, intelligent choice is necessary. Training in herbaceous annuals and biennials. These plants are usually grown without any attempt to alter their growth patterns because even if useful, not practical, being in large number in field. However, for some of ornamental value and creeping nature, following types of training is affected. I. Staking or supporting of vine-like plants. E. Training on pergola or trellis of vine-type fruit plants or even indeterminate type tomatoes. E. Nipping of apices for encouraging lateral growth to give bushy appearance, a fulsome appearance in pot plants like aster, marigold and chrysanthemum. IV. The shooting or removal of lateral buds for making single stem for large flowers is in chrysanthemum and dahlia. B. Staking with bamboo sticks and tying together various shoots in potted chrysanthemum. Training of woody perennials. The woody perennials, which are widely spaced and remain on a place for a long duration, are trained for develop strong framework for sustainable production of quality produce and for ornamental beauty in different shapes, topiary. In these plants following types of training are followed. Agrimoon. Com. Fundamentals of horticulture. 59. I. Open center system, vase shaped. In the system the main stem is allowed to grow to a certain height and the leader is cut to encourage lateral scaffold from near the ground giving a vase shaped plant. This is common in peaches, apricots and bay fig. 7.1. E. Central leader system, closed center. In the system the central axis of plant is allowed to grow unhindered permitting branches all around. This system is also known as closed center system and common in use in apple, pear, mango and supporter. Fig. 7.2. E. Modified leader system. The system is in between open center and central leader system wherein central axis is allowed to grow unhindered up to 4 to 5 years and then the central stem is headed back and laterals are permitted. It is common in apple, pear, cherry, plum, guava. Fig. 7.3. Agrimoon. Com. Fundamentals of horticulture. 60. IV. Cordon system. This is a system wherein a spalier is allowed with the help of training on wires. This system is followed in vines incapable of standing on their stem. This can be trained in single cordon or double cordon and commonly followed in crops like grape and passion fruit. Fig. 7.4. V. Training on pergola. To support perennial vine crops, pergola is developed by a network of crisscross wires supported by RCC, angle iron poles on which vines are trained. This is common for crops like grape, passion fruit, small gourd, pointed gourd and even peaches. V. Training in different shapes. Generally ornamental bushes are trained in different shapes for the purpose of enhancing beauty of places. These shapes could be vase, cone, cylindrical and rectangular, box, flat and trapezoid. Presently for the convenience of mechanization these shapes are being utilized in fruit trees. Such shapes are given to adjust the geometry of plantation like hedge row system, box, unclipped natural in fruits like guava, mango, supporter and citrus. Details of training. I. Height of the head. This is the height from ground to first branching or scaffolding. Depending on the height the trees could be divided in 3 groups. A. Low head, 0.7 to 0.9 m. This is common in windy areas. Such plants are easy to maintain. Agrimoon. Com. Fundamentals of horticulture. 61. B. Medium head, 0.9 to 1.2 m. This is the most common height which combines both effects, ability to stand against wind and easy management. C. High head, more than 1.2 m. Common in tropics in wind-free areas. Operations under the canopy are easy to perform. E. Number of scaffold branches. It refers to allowing of number of scaffolds on the primary axis of the tree which vary from 2 to 15 but extremes are undesirable. In fruit trees 5 to 8 scaffolds are preferred to make the tree mechanically strong and open enough to facilitate cultural operations. E. Distribution of scaffolds. Scaffolds should be distributed in all the directions spaced at 45-60 centimeters allowing strong crotches through wide angles of emergence. A well-trained tree is an asset to the farmer and therefore, efforts should be made for training trees appropriately in formative years for sustainable production. In fact the process should have begun from nursery itself. Pruning definition. It refers to removal of plant part like bud, shoot, root etc. to strike a balance between vegetative growth and production. This may also be done to adjust fruit load on the tree. Objectives. I. To control plant size and form. E. For plant performance like establishment of transplant where leaves, shoots are pruned to strike a balance between root and shoot so that plants lose less water against restricted root system loss during lifting of plants. B. Improvement in productivity and quality by regulating the load of the crop and extent of flowering. C. For flower and fruit quality. D. Elimination of non-productive vegetative growth like water sprouts, suckers, dead and diseased wood. A. In case of forest trees production of not free timber. Types of pruning. Basically there are 3 types of pruning with definite purposes. I. Frame pruning. E. Maintenance pruning. E. Renewal pruning. I. Frame pruning. This pruning is done to provide shape and form to a plant in its formative years so that tree develops strong framework and a shape for ease of operations. This process begins from nursery itself and continues up to fruiting stage. This is done continuously irrespective of the season. E. Maintenance pruning. To maintain status in production level and for uniform performance this pruning is done. In some plants like grapes, apple, pear, peach etc., deciduous trees, it is an annual feature and in others, evergreen like mango, supporter, it is rare confining to removal of water sprouts and unproductive growth and opening of the tree. E. Renewal pruning. This pruning is done in old trees like mangoes which shows decline. In this case severe pruning is required. Factors to be considered in pruning. Agrimoon. Com. Fundamentals of horticulture. 62. In some of the tree species pruning is a regular feature in bearing trees is done to strike a balance between vegetative growth and production so that farmers get sustained production uniformly with optimum quality of produce. To achieve this one should consider the following factors. I. Time at which buds are differentiated in relation to blooming. E. The age of the wood that produces the most abundant and highest quality of fruit buds. In consideration of these factors our knowledge about bearing habit of the tree plant should be complete. Bearing habit means relative position of a fruit with reference to its potential bud giving rise to flower or inflorescence in the shoot. This habit varies from plant to plant. Add principles of pruning. Agrimoon. Com. Fundamentals of horticulture. 63. Lecture No. 24 and 25.